UFC Vegas 38. These are the full card predictions and the betting breakdown. I look forward to this card. We got some really good action throughout. You got a sweet main event at the top, so it's going to be a lot of fun talking about. Guys, smash that like button. I need at least 150 likes on this full card breakdown. Much love to everybody who tunes into the show. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. Turn on those post notifications as well. Not want to miss any content here at MMA Experts covering all things MMA this week, and we got a sweet UFC card to talk about for this weekend. Let's start it off in the first fight. Down at the bottom, women's bout, Shanna Young, Stephanie Egger, women's bantamweight division. Both these girls making their second appearances inside of the UFC. When you look at Shanna Young, you have a girl who tends to keep her hands a little bit low, but does like to scrap. She'll mix it up with her boxing in close range. I really feel like in close distance, she tends to fight her best. Physically, pretty strong. On the other side, Stephanie Egger, more of a high guard style, and she does fight decently from that mid-range. She has some really good Brazilian jiu-jitsu skills. Actually, in a jiu-jitsu match, she took on Gabriela Garcia, who's a monster, like 215 plus pound female, jacked as hell. I was able to survive. She went the distance with her. I'll give her some respect for that. Striking wise, she has some okay kicks, and I do feel like she's being a little bit slept on by the bookies here. You see she's the underdog. I'll pull up fightodds.io to get the most accurate odds possible. As of right now, plus 108, minus 122. Egger the dog here. I like the underdog in this matchup. I like Stephanie Egger. I think she can submit Shanna Young in the second round. I got second round submission for the underdog, for Stephanie Egger to beat Shanna Young here. And I do think submission second round, potentially rear naked choke, which has been a potential weakness of Shanna Young's. But let's keep on moving. Next fight of the night, Antonina Shevchenko takes on Casey O'Neill. O'Neill's going to be tested here against the undefeated, Shevchenko is going to be putting the undefeated fighter to the test here because it's a jump in competition. Yes, Antonina Shevchenko is not at the level of her sister Valentina, but I would say she's a pretty good fighter. Now, weaknesses on the ground for sure, but striking, Shevchenko is a multiple-time Muay Thai champion. She's very good out of that southpaw stance, extremely effective from range, nasty kicks to the body, really fast, good straight punches, similar to what you see with Valentino, but she lacks that physical strength. Taller girl, longer girl, not as strong. That's a weakness when the fights get to the floor. She's also the older sister, is over the age of 35, which potentially some concern. On the other side, Casey O'Neill, young, up-and-coming, undefeated fighter. Okay with her striking, does have some pretty decent boxing skills when she's in the closer range, but not at the level of Antonina Shevchenko. Her straight punches are good. I don't think she'll find a ton of success striking here. I think she needs to get the fight to the floor. She doesn't have it for Shevchenko on the feet, but on the ground, she'll have an edge. And Shevchenko has struggled on the ground. That has been her weakness throughout her career, losing her bouts on the floor. She doesn't lose striking. Striking-wise, she's a phenomenal Muay Thai specialist, kickboxer. I feel like Antonina Shevchenko will surprise Casey O'Neill. I feel like she'll be physically strong enough to stop the 23-year-old's takedown attempts. I feel like she'll be able to defend, and I do think she'll be controlling the distance of this fight. I think Antonina Shevchenko wins here. Now, the odds totally disagree. Shevchenko, as of right now, plus 180 underdog to Casey O'Neill, the minus 200 favorite. I like Antonina Shevchenko. I like the dog in this fight. I think she'll win from range. She's 36, could be concerned, nearly 37, but I feel like she can beat the young 23-year-old. She's going to have a lot more fighting experience, has been doing martial arts for way longer. I think that will lead her to victory. I have Antonina Shevchenko, underdog. The lines are sleeping on this girl. Would it be the safest of bets? Maybe not, but it's still a good underdog play at that solid plus money. Next fight, Alejandro Perez and Johnny Eduardo, two guys who've been off for a while. For Perez, it was a bad knockout to Song Yadong, and that was 2 years ago. And on the other side, 3 years ago, Eduardo lost to Nathaniel Wood. We get to see them face off here. I'm interested in the matchup because Alejandro Perez is not a bad fighter. His kickboxing is pretty good. I know he's coming off just a tremendous knockout loss. I mean, not tremendous for him, but tremendous for Song Yadong. He was brutally slept in that first round, but he's a pretty decent boxer, bouncy striking style, quick hands, good low kicks, and competent ground game as well. I'd say he's pretty well-rounded. On the other side, Johnny Eduardo, well-rounded also, good submission skills, will attack with submissions, has been maybe going for a submission that's not super high percentage and gets himself knocked out in the past. But he does have decent kickboxing on the feet. You know, he has the jiu-jitsu, but he does have kickboxing, has rangy kickboxing, long reach, 71 inches. He'll have a 4-inch reach advantage in this fight. Long layoff, though, and he is 41 years of age. He trains at the Nova União gym, the infamous Nova União. There's savages that come out of there. They spar like animals. I think Alejandro Perez will beat the older Johnny Eduardo here. I'm worrying about the chin of Eduardo. How will it hold up? I think he'll get stopped in the third round. I have Alejandro Perez winning this fight by KO late. I think third round knockout for him. And the odds, they have Perez sitting -215, Johnny Eduardo +196. I like the strong favorite Alejandro Perez, but I think the lines could be a lot closer. They're wide because of the age of Eduardo and the long layoff, but it's not like Alejandro Perez is on this absolute tear. He should not be this big of a favorite. Fight that I'm avoiding betting personally, but I do think it's an entertaining one to watch for sure. It should be a good striking battle, and if it does go to the floor, it'd be interesting to see who gets the edge, but I do think it will be Alejandro Perez, the younger fighter. Next fight, Jamie Mullarkey and Devonte Smith. Interesting. Devonte Smith's only UFC loss, knockout to Kama-Worthy. Only win for Jamie Mullarkey is a knockout of Kama-Worthy. That was his last fight. He slept him quick. Granted, that loss to Kama-Worthy was 2 years ago, and then against Justin James, I was impressed by Devonte Smith. His kickboxing from range is phenomenal. This guy has a really athletic skill set of striking. He's fast, he's physically strong, long 76-inch reach, only at 5'9". That's impressive in its own right. From range, he fights pretty well, and he does move a lot. His style is just lots of movement. He'll keep that higher pace on you. Mullarkey, little more stationary, but decent striker too. I can't hate on the guy. Definitely has some solid boxing skills from range, knockout power in his overhand. Fast starter. He's going to come at Devonte Smith potentially faster, and I do think he's going to look to wrestle a bit. I feel like Smith physically strong enough and capable with his wrestling defense to stop the takedown attacks. I think he'll pick Jamie Mullarkey apart on the feet. I don't think this is an easy matchup, but Devonte Smith should have a bit of a showcase here. I know he has that bad loss, but look at his other wins, all KOs. I think he'll get a second round knockout of Jamie Mullarkey. I think he'll impress a lot of people. I got to ride with Devonte Smith. Even though he has that loss to Worthy, the bookies know, and they have him as the favorite. They know that that was maybe potentially a bit of a fluke. -125 to +142. I like Devonte Smith, and I like him with that second round knockout in what should be an action-packed striking match, and I really feel like he will stop any takedowns of Mullarkey, outstrike him. The straight punches are going to be there all day for Devonte Smith. I think he lands tremendously, hurts Mullarkey, puts him down, stops him. Second round, I am going Devonte Smith to win this matchup, and he is the favorite. The next fight of the night, Douglas Andrade versus Gaetano Pirrello. Interesting fight. Andrade just had a decent UFC career. I mean, he's got a win over Hernandez, which he'll definitely wear with pride. On the other side, Pirrello takes on Ricky Simón in his debut. That's a hellish debut. That's not a debut many guys would win. Simón is a savage. He beat Merab Dvalishvili. I mean, Ricky Simón's working his way back towards the top of the weight class, and I guess towards the rankings of the weight class, and I think he's somebody to keep an eye on. But that's not this matchup. Douglas Andrade on the other side of Pirrello is a tricky OG southpaw. This guy's a veteran of the game. Very tight style of striking. He's in incredible shape. You see the physique. This man is shredded to the bone. Good combination punching. As expected, he'll have some decent Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills. Now, dropping down to 135 pounds from 145. A little bit concerning, but he does have a career there in the past. Did have some losses, and then he moved up to fight Lerone Murphy, lost there. But he beat Hernandez, a very good 135-pound fighter. Beat Marlon Vera, lost to Perez, but that's a very forgivable loss. He's the rightful champion. Unfortunately, Aljo holding up division at the moment. Hopefully we get that solved. Gaetano Pirrello, he's a pretty solid striker, and I do think he's going to look for power punches as his opponent Andrade closes distance. But I don't think he'll be super effective here. I think his striking gets stifled by Andrade with a really high-paced pressure style, potentially some work against the cage. I think the physically stronger guy will be Andrade as well. I think Andrade win by a unanimous decision is the likely outcome for this matchup. I got Andrade. The odds have him sitting at -210 to +205. I agree with those odds. I think they could be maybe -170, a bit closer. We'll see if the line shifts as the week goes on, because definitely people will probably want to jump on the underdog, but I got to ride Andrade. You know, he's over 35, which is a little bit concerning, but I think he'll win this matchup, has a clear level of skill difference over Gaetano Pirrello. Andrade, decision. The next fight of the night, exciting female matchup, Karol Rosa and Bethe Correia. I like this fight. I think that it's going to be interesting to see Rosa challenged against a girl who's been there and attempted that. She never won the belt, but she's fought at the top of the weight class for a long time. If you're not elite level, she tends to beat you. Correia's no joke. She's a pretty aggressive striker with really good boxing combos. Granted, very awkward. The chin is a bit high. She's sloppy at times, but she scraps. Forward pressure, and she is going to mix it up with combination punches, and she's down to brawl. Now, grappling-wise, she's not really bad either, but in this matchup, you have Karol Rosa, who has tremendous takedowns, incredible top pressure, and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skill set. She is a menacing grappler. I think she'll get this fight to the floor. I think she'll probably control throughout for the 3 rounds. Bethe Correia will probably get some combinations off. I definitely think it's possible, and I think it will be a harder fight than the bookies have it here. I think they have it way too wide. I think it could be more like minus 200, but they have Rosa minus 315 at the moment to plus 285. Correia is a pretty substantial underdog. I think Rosa wins a decision. I don't think it's as easy as the bookies are predicting here. I have her, Karol Rosa, beating the OG Bethe Correia, and which should be an interesting fight. I thought Correia was retiring. She always contemplates retiring and then comes back. Karol Rosa for the victory. Decision, and a lot of grappling work here. Expect her to control this fight on the floor, which is a higher level of jiu-jitsu game. The featured prelim of the night. It intrigues me. You have Joe Solecki coming off a really big win against Jim Miller. You have Jared Gordon. He beat Danny Chavez in the last one. Moving up a weight class, though, which is potentially concerning, right? You're jumping a weight class against a really good grappler. Gordon, known for his wrestling, he's pretty confident with it. Not that he doesn't have a good striking game. His kickboxing is solid. His overhands are good. He closes distance well, and he's a pretty pressure-forward style. But will he be able to do that to Joe Solecki here? Solecki's boxing is actually really good. He's really aggressive with his striking. He'll let the hands fly in close, and you have to watch out for his hook combinations as you try to close distance on him. He'll pick you apart on the ground. Very strong grappler, incredible top control. He will attack for submissions. Jared Gordon, I think, will probably be keeping this fight standing. I don't see him getting on top of Solecki. If he does look for takedowns, I think he could potentially put himself in a tricky situation. Solecki will have the physical strength advantage. He'll have the superior striking. It's a good test for him. I think he beats Jared Gordon. I have Joe Solecki winning this fight by a decision. Not an easy matchup against a tough veteran in Jared Gordon. I mean, it's not like Gordon's lost to bad fighters. You see, he lost to Charles Oliveira. The Joaquin Silva loss was a while back, but he's got some W's as well. Dan Moret, Chris Fishgold, and Danny Chavez. Granted, not the highest of levels. I think Joe Solecki wins this bout. Unanimous decision victory. Joe Solecki moving forward as a prospect to watch at 28 years of age in this lightweight division. How far can he take it? We'll find out. Minus 132, plus 130. I like the minus 132 favorite, Joe Solecki, and I think he'll put on a pretty solid performance, winning a hard-fought but clear unanimous decision over Jared Gordon in the featured bout of the night. Now let's jump to the main card, and if you guys have not yet, smash the hell out of that like button. I need at least 150 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here, and turn on those post notifications so you do not miss a video. Looking forward to break this one down because this is a really good fight to start it off. It's Alexander Hernandez, Mike Breeden. Short notice replacement. Breeden is a veteran of the Contender Series, and he's a Muay Thai style of striker with some decent hands. He'll put a lot of forward pressure and volume on his opponents. He'll rip shots to the body, mix it up to the head as well. He likes fighting in close. Trains with James Krause, which is definitely a factor. I feel like, though, coming in on short notice to take on Alexander Hernandez, who's a beast. I mean, he could have beat Thiago Moises. He feels he won that fight. He didn't look awful. He's lost to some guys in that lightweight division, but more towards the top, the higher end of guys. Short notice replacement has nothing for him. I mean, Alexander Hernandez is, I'd say, a pretty well-rounded prospect. Good pressure forward style. He's got some pretty good speed, and his footwork is good as well. He's rangy, even though he's not the tallest guy in the weight class. Does control distance well. I really feel like also the difference maker will be that he can grapple as well. His wrestling's good. He's not fighting Drew Dober here. He's not fighting a guy that has a substantial strength and knockout power advantage over him. I think he'll be able to tee off on Mike Breeden here, pick him apart striking. I think Breeden will be down to scrapping that first round. He'll start gassing a bit towards the end. Probably that second round, Hernandez lets some bombs fly. Alexander Hernandez is going to win this fight. Second round knockout for Alexander Hernandez. Now, let's look at the odds. Minus 370, plus 325. I agree with these odds. They're going to be widespread. Hernandez is very good. He's going to win here. He'll put on a very good performance in beating Mike Breeden in a clinic on the feet, and I think he knocks him out in that second round. The next fight of the night. If you like entertaining strikers, this is the fight for you because Alex Cowboy Oliveira and Niko Price are going to throw down. I can 99% guarantee it. In a world where this fight's not entertaining, I'd be a bit shocked. I mean, Niko Price can definitely mix it up with the boxing. He's extremely tricky to deal with. When he comes inside, he puts pressure. He's got good straight punches. He's a bit awkward too, and he's super durable. Now, on the other side, Oliveira is a rangy Muay Thai striker. Fights with those hands low, but it helps him control distance well. Nasty low kicks, and is really bouncy on his feet. His looping punches are dangerous, and his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu skills are solid as well. Not the most elite level, but they're solid. I don't think this fight's grappling, though. This is going to be a striking battle. Niko Price will put the pace on Alex Oliveira. Don't be shocked if Niko Price pushes him up against the cage a bit and tries to gas him. Pressure forward style, physically strong. He gave Michel Pereira a very difficult test. He's give a lot of guys difficult tests. I mean, Niko Price is a fun guy to watch, and he's a tricky guy to beat. He's down to bang, and his straight punches do have knockout power as well. He's going to be coming inside the distance, making it a brawl with Oliveira. I think Oliveira gets stunned. I think Oliveira gets put down. I think Niko Price sleeps Alex Oliveira in the second round in what should be a swell striking battle. I think that first round, they're going to go off on each other. It might even be a first round knockout, but I think Niko Price for the W in this fight over Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Not that Oliveira is looking shot necessarily, but he got hurt bad against Randy Brown, and I think Niko Price is going to hurt him real bad here. Niko Price for the victory in this matchup. Minus 125 favorite, so the odds are close. Plus 133 dog. I see Alex Oliveira getting ran over here by Niko Price. Second round KO TKO for Niko Price in a welterweight fight that you do not want to miss between two real entertaining fighters. Now, the next fight of the night is an exciting middleweight clash. You have Krzysztof Jotko and Misha Cirkunov. If you know Cirkunov, he's dropping down a weight class from 205 where he had a lot of success. Granted, he got knocked out a few too many times. When he strikes, he tends to get knocked out by the superior kickboxers with power, and he kind of gets a little overconfident striking against Jimmy Crute. Crute, blue chip prospect, working towards the top of that weight class, somebody that I enjoy watching, I see a ton of potential in. He tapped him out in the first round. Misha Cirkunov is no joke if fights get to the floor. He is a tricky southpaw, striking a bit stiff, but he can work his grappling with his confident striking, getting takedowns, using his wrestling skill set to get on top. Tricky submission game, very dangerous on the ground. Krzysztof Jotko on the other side is a pretty rangy southpaw. Granted, southpaw versus southpaw fight, I like it. Nice low kicks, good straight punches from range. Does have some pretty good movement and can definitely avoid takedowns from some of the superior grapplers. Granted, I see him getting out-muscled and controlled here, out-grappled clearly by Misha Cirkunov. I think Cirkunov is definitely being slept on with the lines. They have him as an underdog at the moment, plus 150. Earlier in the day when I checked this, he might have been more towards plus 190 or plus 200. Bet Misha Cirkunov down. He is an underdog that I'm very confident in. He'll win by submission. Plus 150 plus 150 underdog to the minus 159 favorite. I thought Cirkunov would be a favorite, to be honest. I was kind of surprised to see him not. I guess his debuting at the weight class has taken some losses, but I think he's going to emerge back. And I know it's his first fight down a weight class, and maybe I'm a little nervous about the scales, but if all things go right, stylistically, he beats Krzysztof Jotko probably 7 or 8 times out of 10. Submission victory, first round, Misha Cirkunov. He's going to beat Jotko, potentially second round submission as well. I think that I said first or second. So I do think Jotko could survive a bit, but Misha Cirkunov on the ground gets it done with a submission in what should be pretty impressive debut in that middleweight division, dropping from light heavyweight. Now the next fight, it's our featured bout of the night. Tough females, Aspen lad, Macy Chiasson. Good test for Macy. She gets a good jump in competition here, and I do think this is a serious test for her. Aspen Ladd is an aggressive striker with a forward pressure style. Granted, on the ground is where she shines. Really excellent takedowns, physical strength. When she gets on top, she'll throw ground and pound, but she'll also look towards submissions, and she does have a tricky submission game. On the other side, Macy Chiasson, not a bad fighter. Pretty good kickboxing, really tall, 5'11 to 5'6", 72 to 66 inch reach. There's some real advantages here for Macy. Striking striking-wise. Her boxing is better than Aspen Ladd. She's got good straight punches. Her kicks from range are good, and she does mix it up with punches and kicks at a pretty high level. Her kickboxing skill set is pretty legitimate. Strong in the clinch, puts a lot of forward pressure on opponents. Her height is going to prevent her here from being taken down. I think that Macy Chiasson is actually going to beat Aspen Ladd in a hard-fought decision here. Now, the odds have Aspen Ladd as a favorite. Let's see how wide of a favorite at the moment. -192 to +180. I'm liking the underdog, Macy Chiasson. I think that the striking skill set and the height will be a serious factor here. I think she beats Aspen Ladd. She might even be able to TKO her, but I think decision win, Macy Chiasson is the pick here. That is my play. I like Macy, and I think that she's an underdog that's going to come with a real bite, and I really am excited to see this bantamweight fight. And I mean, Chiasson will be moving towards the top of the weight class. Aspen Ladd, got close, but bad knockout loss to Germain. Hasn't fought in nearly 2 years. That was a win against Kunitskaya. More activity from Macy Chiasson, even though not by a substantial amount. She's improving a lot. I think she wins here. The boxing skill set will get it done in the height and range. Co-main event of the evening. We should be excited. Anytime you get to see Kevin Holland, you should be excited. He's a real fun guy to watch. He takes on Kyle Daukaus. One of the few fights where Holland's actually fighting a guy the same height as him. 6'3 versus 6'3, but the reach. Holland 81 inches. Kyle Daukaus 76. Daukaus trains with Chris Daukaus, his older brother, who's an absolute savage in that heavyweight division. So, the boxing skill set of Daukaus isn't awful, but he's more so a pressure forward power grappler who's going to look to get fights to the floor by engaging in the clinch, working towards trips or takedowns from there, getting top position, controlling, using ground and pound, but positional dominance is something he's very comfortable with, but I really think he will look for submissions. If he's fighting against Kevin Holland, weaknesses in the wrestling, we've seen that a lot. Granted, he's now training with Hendricks. I know that he's really improving his wrestling game. I think Holland's going to come out with a lot better takedown defense, especially in this matchup against a guy who isn't nearly as physically strong or, decorated of a wrestler as like a Brunson or the grappling poise of Marvin Vettori. Daukaus is not at that level. Kevin Holland is a very tricky kickboxer. He's rangy as hell. Excellent combination punches, sweet boxing, is able to hurt opponents. When he fights striking, he definitely was the better striker than Derek Brunson and Marvin Vettori. Granted, when he got taken down, he couldn't stop it. He's got knockout ability, and I think the wrestling improvements are going to be there. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. His teep kicks are excellent as well, and he controls range well with them. Granted, be a little cautious here because you don't want to get put on your back, but I don't think Holland gets finished if the fight does get to the floor. I think he puts on a very good striking display. I think he stops Daukaus' attacks, though I think Daukaus will get him up against the cage at moments. Second round knockout, Kevin Holland. He's going to put Kyle Daukaus to sleep in this co-main event, and I think we're in store for an action-packed middleweight fight. -140, +133. I'm on Kevin Holland all day here. I have to go with the Trailblazer. Win by knockout, which would be a hell of a fight. The next fight of the night, Thiago Santos takes on Johnny Walker. Really good fight here in the light heavyweight division between two kind of top guys, but, Walker got badly beat by Anderson, loses the decision to Krylov. Then he beat Ryan Spann. Spann not the top of the top, but still tricky. 3-fight losing streak for Thiago, though. I thought that John Jones fight could have went his way. A lot of guys nearly beat John Jones at that point, and Santos gave him hell. You look at the matchup. You have a really dangerous kickboxer with Thiago Santos versus another really dangerous kickboxer in Johnny Walker. Difference of styles, though. I feel like Walker's a lot more chaotic and spazzy, even though Thiago Santos is a bit reckless, and he definitely comes in ferociously with huge, huge hooks. He closes distance really well, Thiago Santos does. He's explosive when he gets into range. He's got serious knockout power in his hands. His flurries are very fast. Not fearful of strikes, which I think he could get caught by Johnny Walker, but I do think he does have a solid chin at this point. Walker on the other side, hurt badly against Ryan Spann. Got outstruck, won the fight with his back against the cage with the punches and the elbows from there. And we've seen Spann in trouble in that position in the past, losing to Karol Roberson on the Contender Series in like 15 seconds in that same position. Walker's a bit reckless. I think Santos, yes, reckless, more technical than Johnny Walker. I think the fight will be really entertaining while it lasts. I think they're going to put it on one another in a back and forth striking clinic. I think that you're going to see Santos hurt Johnny Walker with an overhand. I think Walker will be wobbled, but he'll be throwing back, maybe even a flying knee. Could maybe even hurt Santos, though I think Thiago Santos gets the knockout. It's going to be back and forth. I think 3 minutes into that first round, Thiago Santos sleeps Johnny Walker, which should be a hell of a main event, knockout, round round number 1, Thiago Santos. He gets back on track and gets a little bit of momentum back on his side, and potentially an Anthony Smith rematch down the line as well. I'd like to see that. Minus 162 for Santos, plus 155, Johnny Walker. I have Thiago Santos winning the bout, but it's definitely high stakes, and the winner of this fight sets themselves up for a pretty big fight. I think that it's going to be, though, Thiago Santos beating Johnny Walker, knockout, first round. Overall, very good card. I'm super excited for this UFC event. I think we have action-packed fights throughout. That Niko Price, Alex Oliveira fight, I think is going to be crazy. I think we have action-packed, crazy fights throughout the whole card. I think we see a lot of good striking battles. Majority of these fights, I think, are going to be very entertaining. Overall, it is a sweet UFC card. Fight night, Santos versus Walker, a.k.a. UFC Vegas 38. Should be a lot of fun. Cannot wait to watch it. Have more coverage coming out for this card as well during this week. We'll do this week's best MMA bets on probably Wednesday, I'm believing, because we do have the Bellator picks that will be dropping in Contender Series as well, but potentially could be Tuesday. We'll do this week's best MMA bets. We'll talk about the UFC card and the Bellator card tomorrow, dropping the Contender Series picks as well. Make sure you guys tune into those. Smash that like button. I need at least 150 likes. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Much love to everybody supporting. I really appreciate you guys. Love you all. And I will be dropping a live prediction video as well to interact with everybody who's definitely interested in chatting up some fights sometime this week. So stay tuned for that. Much love, and I will see you all in the next video.